study all those videos and don't go by Loose Change only. Go by. There's so many out there. It's like people think, well, you know what? We still don't believe it. I could care less.
Yeah.
The reason why, because I've been a computer engineer, so I study a lot about like AutoCAD and the engineering stuff. And here's the sad thing is there was about 1,000 engineers at a convention, and they actually came to Fresno. And one of the engineers was on. In fact, check it out. It's called 9/11. I think Fox 26 on YouTube. I might even post on HalfRTube, where there was this guy that basically proved, and Kobe's like. Kobe was like, what the heck? And Kobe didn't even know. He's a newscaster, you know. Come on, give me a break. And they're like, wow, this is some really... They're like, hey, can we get this guy off the air? Because they're like spooked.
Whoa.
They're like, why is he telling us this? And it's true.
I can't dispute that.
Yeah. So I mean, do your own investigation, snoop around, and figure out what you come out. I really recommend you doing it yourself, and that's the way you're gonna learn.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and go on to our next hot topic.
All right.
Now to another off the beaten path subject. I find this disturbing a little bit. You know, the G20, summit, and that was, I think, in Pittsburgh. And have you watched those videos lately of what happened?
Yeah, and I'm sure you've watched the same one. The one where there was a guy, there was some protesters on the side of this little road, and all of a sudden a car pulls up, and some soldiers jump out of the car and grab this one guy, throw him into the car, and then they get in, close the doors, and they take off. Now, they were saying in the story that, this guy was arrested at the G20 and all this stuff. He was arrested? That's not arrested. That's taking him against his will and throwing him into a car. It's like what you see in a movie.
Yeah.
So what happened after him? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about him, actually.
No, I haven't.
And there's no telling what they were doing to him after they got to wherever they were going to. But there was another video which was quite a bit more graphic.
Yeah.
It was...
In fact, you can see it right here.
Yeah, you see it as we're talking about it. See it playing right there. There was a group of people who were protesting.
Yeah.
And it was at nighttime. And there was a line of people that they were trying to get them to move on, And the thing is that these people were moving. They were leaving. They said, "Move, go get away." So they were walking away. There was one girl, lady in particular. She was on a bike. She was trying to get on her bike to start pedaling away, and they were pushing her. So they knocked her off her bike. And then she would try to get back on, and they pushed her again and knocked her off. And so finally, after a couple times of doing that, and it wasn't just touching, but it was pushing. This is a short female. She was small. And so finally she gets tired of them pushing her off, and she grabs her bike, turns around, throws it at the cop, and at that time another one comes up and right in the back of the head, hit her hard enough in the back of the head to where she falls to the ground. They grab her arms and drag her, not help her up and walk her, they grab her arms and drag her away. And at that time, the announcer who was on the video, he told the camera guy, I think his name was William, scan to the right. So he scans. What he was doing is they didn't want to show this lady getting beat to a pulp on national television. So they showed the people walking away. And then after a couple of minutes, he said, okay, scan back to the left. And so he scans and, she's handcuffed and they're putting her in the back of the car or whatever. And so yeah, that's disturbing. It's supposed to be freedom of speech and land of the free, home of the brave, all this stuff.
Let's take a look at the video. See, she's not doing nothing. Now they're going to be pushing her right now. And they push again. And now she threw with the bike.
Yeah.
And wow, see how that cop hit her?
To me, like the other day, my brother, he hit his head on accident enough to cut it on the forehead. And I told him, it's like, hitting your head, it hurts. But to actually hit it hard enough to cut yourself, that must have hurt. He's like, yeah, I did. But this, as you just saw, she got hit in the back of the head so hard that it knocked her down. Yeah. So I can imagine how much that hurt. And then on top of that, getting dragged away and handcuffed, it's like, she should probably be going to the hospital instead of in the back of your police car handcuffed after being dragged away,
And what's sad about it, I guess, I'm not a fanatic when the end of times is coming near, but to me, I really believe that it's coming near, because when it comes to, if you really truly believe, I really truly believe that this shouldn't be happening on our own soil.
Yeah, it's our own people. We're, the citizens and the cops and all. We're all the same people. We're not enemies. Yeah. We're not, why do that?
And what's sad about it is, the main thing is, I guarantee they put it. It's called, and look this up, Wikipedia. It's called a spin. They put a spin on that. The girl was harassing the cops.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, she wasn't doing as she was told, so they had to use excessive force to get her to do. No.
Have you seen the BART incident? Where did I show you that one? Where the kid was handcuffed and the cop still shot him.
Oh yeah, when he was face down on the ground, handcuffed with 2 other cops on top of him, and he pulls out his gun and shoots him in the back. That kid died.
Yeah,
he died. But they didn't know. Little did they know that there was somebody recording with their cell phone.
Awesome,
which is good. So.
Yeah, imagine that they would have got scot free because they could have put a spin. They were trying to put a spin on it.
Yeah,
like he was refusing arrest. The kid was down on the ground, couldn't do nothing, tied behind the back, and I was like, and boom.
Yeah, face down, and there's 2 cops, holding him, and then that one shoots him in the back.
And they're saying, well, he probably had post-war syndrome. Okay, I understand that, but if that's the case, don't hire him.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't hire him. It gets to the point. It's sad. You got to do your own investigation. Like I really believe that they were actually using. I'm seeing another video. They're actually using weapons, special new weapons against our own people.
Yeah, another group of protesters for the same event. I believe they were in the street and there was a cop car, some kind of vehicle, a truck, but they were announcing on the loudspeaker that you have to move, you have to disperse. The crowd had to disperse, or we're going to use force to make you move. And they kept on using really high pitched squealing noises. People were like that, and then they would stop the noise, and then people would just go back to doing whatever. But they actually started spraying tear gas, and for that video, the news reporter that was reporting that video was choking half to death, and everybody else was choking. But they're using these super high tech, supersonic weapons against our own people. With freedom of speech, that means you have the right to express your own feelings and thoughts, and as long as you're not being crazy about it.
Yeah.
If this really was freedom of speech, they would have had guards there, just in case somebody tried to do something physically crazy.
Yeah.
Throwing stuff or whatever. Right. But they should have gotten the extra manpower to, not surround the people, but be there to make sure everything was going okay, but not to actually beat them down and tear gas them and use a supersonic thing on their ears.
Here was a good example. In Venezuela, when Chavez ran and he won the election, it's been proven that some of our own U.S. forces were acting like they were protesters against Chavez. Mm-hmm. They actually they said, we're going to kill, they got up, act like there was rioting and shooting everybody, and they thought it was, in the media said it was a part of Chavez's parliament. Yeah. Kind of find out that 100%, it wasn't, it was from the U.S. They sent spies over there to do that, to get him ousted out of his administration.
Yeah.
So give me a break. It's been proven with a shadow of doubt, and I'm looking forward to Oliver Stone's new movie, South of the Border.
Yeah.
But imagine they might have been, if anything, if they're going to do that, people say no, they want to do that here. If they're going to do it, faraway country, they probably had true supporters and crazy and planted supporters where they threw stuff so it can make it look like.
That is true. Make it look like everybody's out of control, so we need to go to the extreme to keep them in line. Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, I don't know. I think, like I said, you always do your own investigations, and don't look at Ahmadinejad, look at Chavez, look at Kim Jong-il. These are supposed to be bad. Look at Fidel Castro. These are supposed to be bad people we shouldn't be associated with.
Yeah.
And look at what they're doing for their people. And of course, you must understand, in communist countries or any countries in general, some people work like slaves. In this country, people work like slaves. In the field, they work like slaves. At a minimum wage job, they work like slaves.
Yeah, for example, when President Bush, the last Bush, was in office and he was doing a speech or whatever, and he had some American people there sitting there.
You can let's do a role play. Go ahead.
I am currently working 3 jobs.
Well, you know what? That's quite American of you.
Yeah, that's sadly it is. He stated himself, it's uniquely American.
Yeah.
Sadly, yeah, it is. She's working 3 jobs. Well, that's uniquely American.
And I should be proud that I'm working
3
jobs.
3 jobs. Yeah.
Wow. So I mean, it gets to the point where you're proud to work 3 jobs, then something's seriously wrong.
Yeah.
It gets to the point where, like you said, I'm glad you brought that up. It's like we've been so brainwashed. We're working 3 jobs. So it's such a great deal.
Yeah,
That's
it's a good
American.
thing that you're working 3 jobs, quite American.
Yeah.